Russian President Vladimir Putin has shocked the world, coming up on a forum and saying very openly on TV that Russia has come very close to bringing out or discovering or presenting a cancer vaccine. That is massive, fellas.
We have come close to creating so-called onco-vaccines, vaccines against cancer, and a new generation of immunomodulatory drugs. And I hope that soon they will be effectively used as methods of individual therapy. Of course, there are many bright discoveries now, and we are looking forward to such discoveries in the future.
What's interesting is the timing of when Russian government, Russian president decide to speak out, to say we are ready to produce what you call the so-called vaccine. Very interesting. So Russian President Vladimir Putin announced Russian scientists are close to developing cancer vaccine, potentially revolutionizing cancer treatment globally. You know, cancer treatment is a very big portion of revenue that the health industry makes. He shared his breakthrough at a Moscow forum on future technology, expressing hope for the effective use of individual therapy. So fellas, for those of you who don't know, the cancer business, because it is a business, of course, what is a business? The definition of a business is providing service for return, financial return. That's exactly what happens within the cancer arena. What is Vladimir Putin really trying to provide as a message? As he says it very openly. Putin stated that we have come very close to the creation of the so-called cancer vaccine. So-called cancer vaccine, he said. So-called cancer. Why so-called? I'm very interested. Why so-called? Not just cancer vaccine, but he said we come very close to the so-called cancer vaccine. He says it's a new generation drug. He says, I hope that soon they will be effectively used as a method of individual therapy. I think this is very interesting to look into. Why has this happened now? The question is, didn't they have something already before? Why did he decide to express himself now? Let me remind you here that a few companies in Western countries have been working very hard. Various companies and countries, including the UK government and Germany-based BioNTech, are actively working on cancer vaccine. The UK government's agreement with BioNTech aims to launch clinical trial for personalized cancer treatment, potentially benefiting 10,000 patients by 2030. The UK, Germany, the United States, and many other companies, they have a program into bringing the cancer vaccine, the so-called cancer vaccine, as per Vladimir Putin, available to the public by 2030. Maybe not many years for you because you're healthy, but that's many years away for somebody suffering from cancer right now. Pharmaceutical giants Moderna and Merck are developing experimental cancer vaccine showing promising results, according to themselves. So, fellas, let me get back to this so we can understand. Putin comes forward and say, we are very close to developing cancer vaccine. Why does he do that? It's very clear. Russia is at war against most of the world, at least against Western nations. And the war doesn't limit itself to weapons and missiles. The war is mediatic. The war is in terms of development. The war includes technology and health. What does this mean? What is the message that he's sending? United States of America and many other countries in Western Hemisphere make a lot of money through healthcare. Clearly, they work in communion and collaboration with these big companies. We have Pfizer, Moderna, and many other companies that work very, very much into that sector and paying big amounts of taxes in this government. So America clearly wants to see these companies do great in the arena of health. So what does this really mean? The cancer industry makes yearly about $100 billion minimum from treatment. Okay, by the time they issue treatment, so you can live longer because there's not really a very clean cure to cancer. So every time they sell you these tablets, syringe, everything that's relative to cancer treatment, they make at the end of the year about $100 billion. So it's even massive business. If you look at it as a human being perspective, it makes no sense making money out of people being sick. I completely understand. But from an investor and business person perspective, that's great business. $100 billion a year, for sure. That's an excellent business. Now, would a businessman and investor not be happy that cancer continues? I don't know. You tell me. If I can invest money into a business where people get not so nice, but I make money out of it, would I really want it to stop completely? That's a big question for you to respond to. Investors' job is to make money. Yes, some of them maybe have a good heart. They want you to be good and stuff. But if they make money out of you being that way, why would they stop? Why would they provide you with something that gets rid of that situation that provides them with the sustenance and the money that they make every year? $100 billion. Now, What is the danger to this? The danger is very clear. Vladimir Putin is clearly making sure to make this cancer treatment available at a very cheap price. How do we know this? If you look in the past, I'm sure we can see many incidents where these things happened. During COVID's time, I'm sure you remember about that. That was one of the most traumatic moments in my entire life. Many companies made big money out of this. Moderna, Pfizer, and many others. These big companies made a lot of money through COVID. I'm sure, I know, people don't want to hear it. Let's be realistic. They made a tremendous amount of money out of that crisis. Did you know that Russia also developed a vaccine for COVID? Many people don't know about it. It's called Sputnik COVID. Sputnik vaccine was very effective indeed, but nobody spoke about it because they were trying to politicize the situation, saying it's unreliable, it's not a good vaccine, not being trialed, not being tested, forgetting that the very same thing they were selling had not been tested as per the protocol of 10 years. The difference was the Russian vaccine was very cheap compared to Moderna and Pfizer. Pfizer vaccine dose was selling at about $70 and Moderna about $55. In the meantime, how much do you think Sputnik vaccine was selling for? $10. With the same effectiveness and sometimes much better than the Western nation vaccine. Many countries rejected it for political reasons. But these are the countries that accepted Russian vaccine. Sputnik vaccine was approved in Russia, Belarus, Argentina, Bolivia, Serbia, Algeria, Palestine, Venezuela. Do you see where we're going? These are specific countries. Paraguay, Turkmenistan, Uruguay, the UAE, Iran, Guinea, Tunisia, Armenia, Mexico, Nicaragua. That's the direction it went. So everybody was told about Moderna and Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, but not everybody was told about Sputnik that cost much, much cheaper than the other vaccine with the same level of effectiveness. As per reports, they made a lot of money out of vaccine. Cumulatively, Pfizer and Moderna made about $100 million out of vaccine. Yes. So fellas, what does this mean? There's a lot of things happening right now. Russia's really fighting back. And I feel like they're bringing out weapons that they had in the past and never wanted to use. They are fighting in terms of weapon. Russia just developed one of the scariest missiles ever. A missile capable of destroying satellites on orbit. And this is shaking everybody on the other side. And nobody's talking about it. Russia is now coming forward with a potential vaccine for cancer in the future. And that's going to destroy business for many, many people. That is dangerous. And I feel like Russians or Vladimir Putin is sending a very clear message saying to them, I can destroy your livelihood if you continue doing what you're doing with a firm competition in field that they've never competed before at this scale. So I know this is something many people don't like to talk about, especially doctors. They don't, they become very defensive. And I can understand that clearly because as a doctor, you probably just have a good heart. You want to help people. And it's very difficult when you're told that the people above you not necessarily care about people. They care about business. The reason why you have business is because they have business. But whatever they feel and think is not exactly how you feel. You perhaps just want to do good things. But does it translate to how the superior, the investors feel? No. The fact that you feel the way you feel, does it change the truth to how evil this industry can be? Absolutely not. The proof is in the pudding. Many years ago, there never used to be a vaccine against hepatitis B. Hepatitis B is a very dangerous illness, especially when it's viral. It can damage your liver and put you in a very difficult condition. I know many people think about HIV as a very bad thing, and I can understand. But many people don't pay attention to things like hepatitis B, which sometimes can be very, very dangerous. Hepatitis B for many years was an incurable disease until they came up with something, some sort of a treatment for hepatitis B. Now, this treatment by Western nation constituted injections every week for 52 weeks. So you're going to get a treatment. So if you want to get healed from hepatitis, you're going to get injection every single week for 52 weeks. Now ask me, what was the price for this treatment? $1,000 per syringe. So we have treatment for you. We can cure you from hepatitis, but it's $1,000 per week for 52 weeks. Now, do you feel like the average human being can afford it? No, they cannot. Now, what do they say to you? Oh, investors invested into the development of this treatment and they need to make money. How do you expect people to afford that? Now, that is the situation that many people don't know about. And then they came up with a cheaper treatment to that. They say the average price of the 5 direct-acting antiviral used to treat hepatitis was $24,000. That's the cheapest price they had. Now, this treatment is called Lamovad. 52 weeks. The interesting part here is Russia is also developing treatment for hepatitis B. Do you think it's going to be the same price? Absolutely not. Their goal, beside the fact that they want to make money, they also want to make war to everything that supports the Western nations. Now, is that a bad thing? Some people will say it's a bad thing because it's bad business for them. It's bad business for entrepreneurs and investors, Western rich people that put money into the health system. But is it a bad thing for people that can finally afford this medication? I don't think so. But is it a bad news for most people who can barely afford this treatment? You tell me. Again, fellas, Vladimir Putin has come forward saying that they are developing, they're very close to revealing a so-called vaccine against cancer. He didn't precise which cancer this is, but clearly this is war in all front. Do you feel like this treatment can be trusted if it comes out? Do you feel like anything Russian can be trusted? Let me just remind you here, there was a big campaign against Russian product during the war. Big campaign against Russian product during COVID. They even discouraged a lot of people to take that vaccine, saying it's not treated properly. Are all Russian people who took Sputnik vaccine dead? I don't think so. Let me know how you feel about this. How is this going? What does this mean in terms of economics? Where do you think Russian President Vladimir Putin is trying to take Western nations? God bless.